Many regions of Mexico share similar dishes, says Roberto Santibañez. For chef Rick Bayless, it's surprising what Americans don't know about Mexico.
So most Americans have never eaten mole, which is the national dish of Mexico. A mind-boggling thing to think that our next-door neighbor's national dish, most Americans have never even tasted.
I think the different preparations of sauces, moles, pipianes, salsas, everybody has them in the country. It's just everybody produces them differently, and that's like the core of what we do. You know, like, okay, yes, we have tamales, and yes, we have tortillas. We all share those traditions, and we all have grilled meats and poached meats. But what would it be of that without all the little salsas, molitos, pipianes, and all that? Really not much. So that's what you need to kind of go and look into. Okay, what did they do with this adobo? What did they do to this pipián? Now they did the pipián differently. The moles are different here. So that's what you need to kind of focus in, I think, when you travel through Mexico.
Robert del Grande, chef owner of Cafe Annie in Houston, Texas, has some good advice for American chefs who want to master Mexican cooking.
And I was telling Roberto, I was advised early on by Diana Kennedy that if you're going to use these ingredients, don't study European technique with an ancho chile, persilla chile, or poblano. You know, study the cultures that have used them, and you'll learn the tricks and the right ways to use them much faster. So we still look to that, the Mexican cuisine, the Mexican culture, for those inspirations, basically. And particularly the one technique I would say that maybe is people don't associate with European cooking, but definitely with Mexican cooking, is grinding. This grinding of things, you know, that
the
we're
blending.
The blending and the grinding of something, and don't sieve it and strain it too many times and so forth. You're stripping all the soul from it, you know, which was very different from making veal glace in European technique, where you had to be perfectly clear with nothing in it whatsoever.
Oftentimes, young chefs think that they don't have to master a traditional cuisine, any cuisine, before they start innovating to create their own cuisine. Now, I think every chef has to have a voice, but I think it's extremely hard to find that voice within yourself unless you have the whole structure of a cuisine that's buoying you up.
One of the most common mistakes everywhere is the use of a food processor instead of a blender. You know, nobody understands that a food processor is never going to get a mole as fine as a blender, and you know, that's the difference. And you get served this chunky sauce with all these bits of seeds and spices because nothing blended properly. You know, those are the things that I don't look into the food processor. Look into Mexican kitchen and see that they don't have a food processor; they have a blender.
Roasting and toasting, that's kind of the heart of the cooking. I think probably the Roberto and I were talking about, the biggest mistake is that you'll see a picture in a cookbook of the ingredients roasted, but you don't really understand the idea that's going on. So I just try to make it look that way, kind of blackened on the outside, versus the idea if it's taking this ingredient, expanding all these flavors, and creating harmonies and things inside them. And it's a much slower process, much more of a cooking, not just burn it.
Yeah, you know, just upstairs, you know, a couple of students like, can you roast this tomato? So they put them up in a salamander that's boiling hot. So once they're blackened, ready, roasted. No, you know, it should have been put them on a flat top that doesn't have too much high of a temperature. The tomato needs to cook first, fully, and then develop a blackened skin.